fire and brimstone erupting from the center of the Earth. A series of extinction-level events are just around the corner. We know it's coming because it has been predicted by the greatest seer in history, Nostradamus. 500 years ago, Nostradamus scribed thousands of coded prophecies.
What he saw, no one could survive.
These visions of future catastrophes are as terrifying as they come.
Famine, plague, floods, volcanoes. From the droughts, there is fire, death of millions.
Many of his predictions have already come true.
Oh my God!
From the rise of Hitler to the assassination of JFK and the 9/11 terrorist attack. But the discovery of a lost book bearing his name suggests the worst is yet to come.
He was witnessing the end of the world.
Disasters so enormous that they would wipe out the whole human race.
How will it happen? When will it happen? For the first time, experts decode the warning signs and reveal, can the world be saved?
Hawaii, so beautiful. Gosh. Heading to Waimanalo Beach. We got engaged. Parents in prayer.
According to Nostradamus, mountains of magma will soon rise again from the Earth's core. But this time, the event will mark the beginning of the end for all humankind.
Kilauea is where tourists go to see active volcanic activity. It's really beautiful.
Oh my God!
Big one! Big one!
But when it has a huge eruption,
yeah, there we go. Emergency sirens are going off.
Kilauea is gonna just pour out lava.
This is insane. Holy.
This massive explosion will start a catastrophic chain of events. In just 1 week, the Earth as we know it will be destroyed. '16th century France. Nostradamus publishes almost 1,000 four-line poems, known as quatrains, in his legendary Les Prophéties.
He basically only wrote things about important issues: wars, revolutions, earthquakes, floods, all sorts of various calamities.
When we hear the name Nostradamus, we think of him as the man who saw tomorrow.
Many of Nostradamus' prophecies seem almost to indicate an end-of-time scenario. Destroy the planet or cause such widespread disaster that people would never recover from it.
Nostradamus' mysterious prophecies are notoriously difficult to decode. But in Quatrain 265, his description of a future volcanic disaster couldn't be any clearer.
Great calamity to be done through the lands of the West. When he's talking about the lands of the West, he's talking about America. fire in the ship, plague and captivity. None of that's good. But what could cause a fire in the ship? If we're in the lands of the West, perhaps he's talking about the Pacific Ocean. What if there are volcanic eruptions? What if a ship is caught with stray fallout, smoking ash, or even fiery magma from the atmosphere? The final line, Mercury in Sagittarius, Saturn fading, gives us an astronomer's eye view on the time period that he thinks that this might play out. The next time we will see Mercury in Sagittarius with Saturn fading is December 7th, 2044.
Another quatrain reveals the great seer's prediction as to where this coming volcanic apocalypse will begin.
In quatrain 49, century 10, in the path of the hollow mountain could very easily be the chamber from which the magma will be spewed forth. Nostradamus would certainly have known about the destructive power of volcanoes such as Mount Etna or Mount Vesuvius. Here he was giving us a warning across time of the outcome of a volcanic eruption. Garden of the World near the new city, the very latest new city in America, is Jurupa Valley, very near to a very large garden site known as the Garden of the World.
40 minutes west of Los Angeles, the Jurupa Valley is vulnerable to the effects of smoke from a colossal volcanic eruption. It lies downwind from one of the most active volcanoes on Earth, Mount Kilauea in Hawaii.
So is it possible Nostradamus had been thinking about the possibility of a cloud of toxic gas carried very easily into California from the Hawaii volcano and therefore perhaps be going to affect this new city?
This is a chilling prediction of vast annihilation, made even more terrifying by modern science.
When you hear the word Hawaii, the first thing that comes to mind is island paradise. Clear blue water, lush jungles, but you know what? These are volcanic islands.
They're extremely volcanically active.
Anybody who lives in Hawaii has to be able to deal with this uncertainty. There's no controlling whether or not the next eruption is going to take out a golf course or bury an entire subdivision.
But this future volcanic eruption will be bigger than anything humans have ever experienced. A blast so huge, it has scholars everywhere on edge.
Nostradamus prophesied about volcanoes posing an existential threat throughout the world.
When he's talking about volcanoes, he's always warning about the really big ones that take out cities, that rise up and erupt in places that maybe they weren't expected before.
Will this prophecy come true? If so, in December 2044, the world will be on the verge of total destruction.
When it starts spewing lava non-stop, it's not the pristine paradise you can imagine. It's more like a mountain of death.
It can range from 1,500 up to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Not only is it setting everything on fire, but it's fast. Faster than people can run. Like a river of molten doom.
We would have not just our skin melted off, but we would have our muscles completely cooked, our bones completely fried. It would just eat away at everything.
As it moves through towns, it's going to take out trees, homes, cars. Everything's going to be set alight and become a part of the lava flow itself.
It's gonna go where it's gonna go, and we can't control any of it.
In a matter of hours, the main island of Hawaii will be destroyed. Survivors scramble to evacuate, but where to? According to Nostradamus, there will be no safe harbor. This is merely the beginning of the end of days. History's most famous prophet, Nostradamus, predicted a series of catastrophic events that have played out over the last 500 years. From the French Revolution and the Second World War, to the Great Fire of London and the assassination of JFK. One of the most notorious examples of his accuracy came on one of the darkest days in American history.
The most iconic quatrain of Nostradamus is Century 10, Quatrain 72. The year 1999, the 7th month. From the sky will come a great king of terror.
A lot of folks like to interpret this as his foretelling of September 11th.
It does say 1999, but that is only 2 years off from 2001. The key here is it says the 7th month. Now, of course, 9/11 happened in September, but Sept being the Latin root for 7, September was originally the 7th month. And then he said, from the sky will come a great king of terror. Well, of course, what happened in 9/11? It was airplanes crashing into buildings, which is from the sky.
If Nostradamus's prophecies have proven true in the past, it's hard to avoid the likelihood that there are yet more prophecies to come.
This includes the devastation in store for the world immediately after Mount Kilauea erupts in December 2044.
As people start to evacuate from a Kilauean eruption, they're moving downhill, away from the volcano toward the coast. And the problem is, the lava is also doing the same thing. As the lava meets the ocean, that ocean water is immediately flashed to steam. You can have what they call littoral explosions. Each of which might look like small atomic bombs.
Watch out for the shock, it's coming.
And these will rain shards, fragments of rock, and spray these death shards, around anything that's close by. So it's almost out of the kettle into the fire. You're running from the lava toward the lava explosions. This is not a good place to be.
Before long, the death toll reaches the hundreds of thousands. But the final line of Nostradamus' Quatrain 1049 suggests the horrors are primed to get much worse.
Forced drink waters poisoned by sulfur seems very clearly to look at the aftermath, the sulfurous cloud that would follow on from a volcanic eruption.
He's describing an intense situation and living through it in order to watch it, as if he were there. We can imagine him smelling the sulfur, almost tasting it on the air and realizing that it has spread to poison everything.
We're given these abilities for a reason. We're supposed to share those abilities. We're supposed to help other people, inform other people. It was important not to sit on that information, but to inform the world about what he had picked up.
500 years later, scientists can now confirm the toxic effects of Nostradamus' terrifying prophecy.
Kilauea in particular is known to produce copious amounts of sulfur and sulfuric acid. the effects of the volcano are gonna start spreading on the wind. That would take it from being a local phenomenon to a near global phenomenon.
The gases are going to get you.
You're basically breathing in acid, so you would feel this burn.
It'll burn your airways, it'll burn your nose, it'll burn your skin.
Your skin wouldn't be able to sustain itself against it, and that goes for your organs as well.
As the deadly poisons drift towards America's west coast, it's not just the toxic gases people have to fear.
Oh my God.
What the F? It's gnarly. Oh God.
All that sulfur has to go somewhere. If it mixes with a rain cloud and starts raining, you get a volcano eruption followed by sulfuric acid rain. Hydrogen sulfides, straight sulfur, sulfuric acid, any kind of hyperacidic water falling down is bad. It can destroy water systems, it can destroy crops.
If you have a very large volume of sulfuric rain and you're exposed to it, then it can have devastating consequences.
It can destabilize an entire area, especially if it's rained a whole lot and all of that sulfuric acid rain got into a water system. It could have very long-lasting effects.
Millions will be poisoned or burned to death. Farmland ravaged, buildings destroyed by the toxic gas and rain. An avalanche of destruction has set out to eviscerate all humankind.
In century 6, quatrain 97, Nostradamus said, "In an instant, a great scattered flame will leap up." In a volcanic eruption, when you see fire and ash and smoke come up from a volcano, it really does look like the sky is on fire. And a great scattered flame leaping up would make sense as lava breaking through the surface.
Several of his volcanic quatrains reference the new city, which placed them in the new world. And those are worth paying attention to because large swaths of the United States are places of volcanic and seismic activity.
At 45 degrees, the sky will burn. But what is there at 45 degrees latitude that could cause the sky to burn? Well, there is one very obvious answer, one very scary answer that lies at 44.4 degrees, and that's Yellowstone.
Nostradamus' 500-year-old prophecy is all the more terrifying, given what today's experts know about the apocalyptic potential of Yellowstone.
Yellowstone National Park is the oldest national park in the world, and it is a very popular tourist attraction.
Well, what you don't know is that what you're visiting could possibly be one of the most dangerous places on Earth.
You know, something has to be powering all of the geysers that Yellowstone is famous for, and that is an enormous magma chamber, molten rock, that's 50 miles long. This is a monster.
Yellowstone is a supervolcano. A supervolcanic eruption from Yellowstone is capable of being literally thousands of times larger than the volcanic eruptions we're used to seeing on Earth's surface.
A supervolcano eruption is the single biggest natural threat to the future of the human race.
As Nostradamus predicted, an apocalyptic disaster is readying itself to let rip.
Every day, the pressure under Yellowstone is getting greater and greater. So we're currently due for a Yellowstone eruption.
It's alive right now and waiting.
This one, we're not ready for it.
The Hawaiian eruption. An imminent explosion at Yellowstone. Nostradamus' predicted volcanic apocalypse is threatening to consume the globe.
Holy!
As the clock ticks down on human existence, a recent discovery reveals a singular cause to these otherwise unnatural events. Hidden for centuries, could this be the secret to saving the world? December 2044. America's west coast is drowning in acid rain, and Yellowstone is about to blow. These events were foreseen 500 years ago by legendary prophet Nostradamus as he practiced mysterious ancient rituals.
Alchemy was a technique combined with astrology that Nostradamus used. There was all sorts of mystical rituals and different formulas of herbs. And there was something called scrying, a mystical system where you look into a black bowl with water in it, and you would see images. There were other techniques where you're in a room with candles and there would be mirrors in the corners of the room. You would ask a question and somehow you would see images of the future in the mirrors.
He read messages in the stars because he was an astrologer, but he also received divine words which he felt came from God and which were about the whole world and its future.
His visions of our future are so horrific, he's compelled to write them down and share them with the rest of the world.
He was trying to warn people that here's what's going to happen.
We're going to suffer. We will suffer undignified, merciless death if we don't at least take his instruction and try to prevent occurrences that he saw from happening.
Nostradamus also hid his warnings within a mysterious book of macabre paintings.
In 1994, a manuscript was discovered in the National Library of Rome. It's become known now as the Lost Book of Nostradamus. It consisted of a number of rather curious watercolors that fit with Nostradamus's famous prophecies, painted for Nostradamus by his son César.
One image appears to drive home the great seer's warnings of impending volcanic doom.
In this picture, we see a mountain which is surmounted by a staff, a skull, which in turn is surmounted by a moon. So we have a lot of imagery piled one on top of another here. The skull does represent physical death, and the fact that the moon is on its back is also a sign of bad luck. Underneath it all, this mountain that may at any moment break open and start spewing fire and sulfur and destroying the land around you in a rain of fire and death.
He's moving, walking.
Oh. He's standing up now.
You know, if you were at the park, it's likely there would be something strange happen.
What's going around?
The geysers shut off. But then the earthquakes would start.
Very slowly, the ground would begin to rise.
Wow. Holy, that whole rock is moving. Holy.
Until the earth just can't hold back the pressure any longer. And when it goes off, it's gonna go off explosively.
Shock waves would ripple out from the site of the explosion, supersonic and maybe in many cases.
Huge boulders are gonna fall for miles around. And then it's just gonna continue pouring out material. Lava, gases, ash, it's all coming out.
Oh my God.
The deadly explosion is like nothing mankind has ever seen. And it unleashes another powerful, all-consuming killer.
Pyroclastic flows are one of the most terrifying types of natural disasters. They're not just a landslide or a lava flow. They're actually superheated toxic gas full of tiny shards of glass in the form of volcanic ash.
That looks like clouds of material, but it's solid. It buries things very quickly.
That can travel at hundreds of kilometers an hour down a volcano and actually up adjoining hills. You get boiled, suffocated, poisoned, all at the same time.
Does it scare me? Hell yeah.
Flat out, if there's a way to die in a natural disaster, the pyroclastic flow is a thoroughly miserable, painful, horrible way to die.
This explosion will bring most of the world to its knees. Still, Nostradamus predicts yet another devastating blow is coming. And with it, all chances of human survival will be lost. In 1555, Nostradamus published his famous collection of prophecies. The great seer's visions for the future were darker than any other prophet has ever claimed to see.
It must have been horrifying, terrifying, unfathomable.
They may be quick flashes, not merely images, but often sense, sound, emotion. It's all piled up in one enormous download of information.
How he processed this, how he integrated that into his train of thought, how he dealt with that, it had to be unbelievable.
You are inundated with all of the horror, all of the violence, everything all at once, but you don't necessarily know when or how or where. It's just this wave of experience and emotion, and it can be incredibly overwhelming.
December 2044. In just a few days, volcanic eruptions in Hawaii and at Yellowstone have destroyed the U.S. But these events are just the beginning. Soon, the devastation Nostradamus prophesied will reach around the entire globe.
Yellowstone is gonna just pour out volcanic ash. Volcanic ash is the part of a volcanic eruption that has the biggest overall effects away from the location of the blast.
That ash itself is incredibly poisonous to breathe in. It's corrosive. It actually will tear up your lungs.
The temperature of that is still hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit. It's still as hot as your baking oven. You would not want to get near this. You wouldn't want it to touch you.
This volcanic ash will be so abundant that when it lands on the ground, it'll grow to depths of 10 feet thick as far away as 1,000 miles.
Farming would be devastated. Food supplies would crash. And this will spread from the Rockies all the way to bits of the West Coast and the East Coast. So utterly remaking the face of North America in just a matter of days.
Just as Nostradamus predicted, our end of days will soon be upon us. And he has one more volcanic prophecy, one which seals the world's terrible fate.
In the first line, Nostradamus makes reference to earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth. Well, there's only really one thing that can be, and that's volcanism.
Will cause tremors around the new city. Does it point to a catastrophic seismic event in someplace close to the new city, so the New World, which is generally taken for code of the United States? And this might lead us to look to the Ring of Fire in the Pacific and how all of the seismic activity there is interrelated. When one thing goes, many others begin to go.
Terrifyingly, 500 years after Nostradamus wrote these words, experts are finally able to verify the accuracy of his end-of-days prophecy.
The Pacific Ring of Fire is basically a ring of volcanoes that define where the Pacific plate smashes into other plates on the Earth's crust.
Volcanoes along the Pacific Ring of Fire are particularly deadly because they have some of the largest earthquakes in the world, but they also are the places where you get the most violent volcanic eruptions.
The Ring of Fire poses the largest volcanic hazard on Earth.
Now you can imagine what would happen if all of these volcanoes were to somehow erupt all at the same time.
South America, North America, Asia,
Volcano, earthquake, volcano.
Indonesia and Australia.
Sheet of magma, volcano.
New Zealand, the Philippines.
Steam vent, volcano, just all the way around.
Tens of millions of people, if not 1 billion people, would be touched by this.
It's kind of difficult to think about, to be fair. I mean, holy crap.
Talk about hell on Earth. This is the real hell.
It would end the human race, perhaps end all life on Earth. So this is just about the worst thing that could happen to us.
There is only one thing more chilling about Nostradamus' volcanic end of days. The great seer's prediction that one man is to blame. An antichrist figure hell-bent on destroying the world. December 2044, the date most scholars believe Nostradamus predicts the notorious Pacific Ring of Fire will unleash hell throughout planet Earth. But according to a recently discovered lost book of Nostradamus, all these events are in fact unnatural.
In this image, we see the tree of good and evil from the Garden of Eden. On another level, perhaps all green-growing things, which the Pope is protecting, while it is under attack from a mysterious beast, a fire-breathing beast. It's a force, a power. So we're looking here at the destruction of the natural world, which is exactly what you would expect to happen from a volcanic eruption. You can see it as an outside threat, suggesting that something coming from without is threatening or attacking you.
Terrifyingly, this threat echoes Nostradamus' notorious prophecies about a series of antichrists who lead us into the apocalypse.
Nostradamus' prophecies predicted the rise of 3 antichrists: Napoleon, Hitler, and some unknown figure to come.
He's not telling you to look for someone with a tail or horns, but a human being who fits some very specific criteria in terms of power, an inborn evil, and the abuse of that power.
He would introduce disorder, chaos, havoc, bloodshed. He would be the epitome of all the world's evils.
Who could be the third Antichrist predicted by Nostradamus? Experts believe clues lie within the coded quatrains.
Long-awaited He will appear in Asia. Nostradamus is referring to an Antichrist. The fact that he says long-awaited implies that there's a build-up. So this is the long-awaited peak Antichrist, the worst of all the Antichrists.
Nostradamus tells us that this third one is going to be from Asia. So the third line, Nostradamus makes a reference to Hermes. Well, Hermes was the one who led dead souls to the gates of Hades. So I think he's just implying here mass death. But he tells us that this third Antichrist will rise above all the kings in the Orient.
Which could mean the Middle East, which is what they call the Orient in Nostradamus' time. So could the third Antichrist be a royal prince somewhere in the Middle East?
Is our third Antichrist hiding among the dinner parties and shaking hands with other world leaders and smiling while behind the scenes people are tortured and cut to pieces with bone saws?
The 9/11 atrocity, an event predicted by Nostradamus himself, suggests the sky's the limit when it comes to terror attacks. Are Nostradamus's prophecies about to come full circle? Could someone or some nation be powerful enough to set off the ring of fire?
The more we understand volcanoes, the better we can get at predicting when they'll erupt. And some of that data and knowledge could potentially be used in an offensive, terroristic kind of way.
At some point in the future, someone might find themselves brazen enough to take advantage of this situation, and we may find ourselves in a volcanic terrorism scenario.
What triggers lots of eruptions, especially explosive eruptions, is a change of pressure. That's the big key. Release the pressure to get that eruption to happen.
There is some theories about how you might actually start one yourself.
Either by increasing the pressure underneath this volcano, like by injecting seawater, or potentially detonating a bomb.
Thanks to Nostradamus' third Antichrist, the exploding ring of fire is about to take his series of volcanic prophecies to their apocalyptic finale. Our end of days is almost upon us, just as it appeared in the horrifying visions of Nostradamus. Could sharing his dark realities with the world help save humanity?
He has these vivid and incredible visions of the future. He felt that they were necessary, needful warnings.
I just can't imagine the fear or the heartache or the sadness, just a whole range of emotions that this poor man must have felt when he saw some of these things inside his head. Nostradamus was given these visions so that we would be able to prevent these things from happening.
December 2044. The world is under siege from a series of calamitous volcanic eruptions, exactly as predicted in Nostradamus' terrifying vision. Starting with a huge volcanic eruption in Hawaii.
It's gonna just pour out lava.
Followed by toxic gas and rain crippling America.
You're basically breathing in acid.
It's corrosive. It actually will tear up your lungs.
The devastation continues with a cataclysmic eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano.
Lava, gases, ash, dust, it's all coming out.
This is just about the worst thing that could happen to us.
As the Great One predicted, Nostradamus' series of apocalyptic volcanic disasters climaxes with a chain of eruptions along the Pacific Ring of Fire. Anyone who thinks they are shielded from the disaster is mistaken. The ring of fire unleashes its powerful volcanic ash into the air, suffocating the world. Even the simple act of breathing is soon impossible.
Ash gets shot up high into our atmosphere.
Oh my god.
And when that happens, that starts to carry this ash across the entire globe. And that has devastating impacts.
Volcanic smoke plumes reach different countries halfway around the planet.
The sheer amount of ash thrust into the atmosphere, you have essentially a blocking out of the sun.
You have this dark ash that could block the sun for possibly years.
This will choke the intakes of cars. This will, down airplanes and helicopters.
Everything is shut down. Agriculture, our food chain, our food supply, and with it, our modern world. This ash is shutting down everything. Nothing can survive under this blanket of ash. No machine, no life form.
That kind of hypothesis wipes off entire civilizations.
It would end the human race, end all life on Earth.
Humans are doomed.
Our end of days is here. The apocalypse, foreseen by Nostradamus 5 centuries ago. As the planet is buried under a toxic cloud of ash from multiple catastrophic volcanic eruptions, one question remains. Are you ready?